Hey guys, welcome to my Season 14 Ice Shards Build Guide. Sorcerer is a bit undertuned, so finding an off-meta build was a bit of a challenge, but I finally managed to get one that can clear not only pit 120, but pit 125. This build is an absolute blast to play. Through all of T12, it completely annihilates everything in the overworld. Ice just happens around you, and Ice Shards fly out automatically. Big downside of the build, though, is it is pretty terrible at killing bosses, since a large part of its build is coming from Azurath explosions, which will be completely nerfed as of next season. So if you want to try this out, this is sadly a do not wait until next season kind of build. Let's talk about how it works. Core of the build is Ice Shards, specifically the Ice Shards enchant, which automatically fires Ice Shards at frozen enemies. So the trick is we want to freeze as much enemies as possible and let those Ice Shards do their work automatically without you having to press anything. How are we freezing those enemies? Mostly through conjurations, via the Ice Heart Brady Pants, as well as the Frost Nova enchant. And with the Frost Nova upgrade that lets it explode automatically into another Frost Nova, you cause a chain reaction of freeze, explode, freeze, explode, freeze, explode, all while your Ice Shards continue to contribute to the damage, as well as contributing to the chill effect, make more enemies freeze automatically. Alright, let's get into the gear here. For the helm, you obviously are going to have the Ice Shards helm, the Hail of Verglass. Should be pretty easy to get a mythic version, so this is a, with this season, this is a nice 65% multiplier on a helm spot. Very good. Name of the Affinit is a must-have for any sorcerer build, absolutely required. Even with this, you're still somehow squishy on a sorcerer. I don't get it. 65% damage reduction, though. Can't beat it. For gloves, ideally, you'd probably want to have a good Fist of Fate here. I'm currently using the Frozen Memories aspect. For your pants, I typically use the Ice Heart Braze. I don't know. I typically use these pants whenever I'm out in the open world and run around standard Torment 12 stuff. For bossing, you will need to switch to Tybalt's Will, as you need the extra resource to actually stand there and cast your Ice Shards. Typically, though, you won't need Ice Shards at all to cast. Everything just dies automatically from the Ice Shards enchant. Boots, same kind of thing. Every sorcerer pretty much uses the crit chance. If you're doing a crit build, it's not a dot build, you need the Azur's Heirloom. For weapon, Orsa Vein is hard to beat. Great damage multiplier plus a very high utility effect on the enchants. For your offhand, I have the Merciless Cold. And for my amulet, I am using my last legendary piece is a Elemental Constellation. Even number of skills for each element. It's very important. Make sure as you modify the build, you keep two Frost, 2 Pyro, 2 Shock skills on your bar at all times. For your rings, I am using the Signet of Pelgain and Tal Rajas. The Tal Rajas could probably be replaced by a legendary. Honestly, this isn't a very good one, so I thought about trying that out too. For your sets, I have 2 different versions of this build. I used one with the Frozen Sea set, and then I have also tried one with the 3-fold set. The Frozen Sea set is actually a bit more damage, but pushing high-level pits, I found I was only able to clear 125 when I switched to the 3-fold set due to the extra survivability. For your unique charm, you absolutely have to have an Azurath. In the skill tree, we of course are going to max out Ice Shards and get the increased damage per pierce. You can also do the reduced mana cost if you're really having struggle there. But again, most of the time in the overworld, they're doing regular T12 content. You will not need to cast Ice Shards, so you don't really need to worry about the mana. Glacial Spike you take because you automatically get Piercing Cold, and we're not doing a lightning build, so this is pretty much the only option. We got 1 point in all the defensives here, basically. You could pick whichever one really suits you. Obviously, cooldown doesn't help, so the choices are pretty obvious for which ones are actually going to help you here. Unstoppable on Ice Armor is always just great to have more sources of Unstoppable. Makes your potion, make you unstoppable, which is pretty nice. I do put some excess points into Frost Nova. This one's actually maxed out because nothing else to put in. The duration is overkill. I don't know what else you'd even need it for. Now, there are a lot of options for Frost Nova, depending on the situation, what you need. The size is your standard AoE clear, speed clear option. The increased mana is good if you want to have a middle ground between the Ice Heart Pants and Tybalt's. This way you'll get some mana back, but you won't be... but you'll still have that nice freezing effect. This one can be useful if you really want to use a deep freeze build. which is something that I have used to clear the high level pits. And then the last one is damage, which again isn't terrible, just for a little bit of extra damage. I did try and scale this. I wasn't able to make the build work. It's not enough damage. Down here we got our conjurations. I maxed out ice blades because the cold damage is actually multiplied by all of our set and everything. And then I put 1 point in each of the others. You need to have 2 fire skills, so these are your fire skills. And then lightning spear along with unstable currents is my standard build for running around. For the Hydra, you'll notice I didn't pick any upgrade here. The burning one makes it so the cooldown reduction doesn't work, so you can't use that. This one reduces you to 1 head, but puts it on a cooldown. Which isn't terrible, but you typically end up with only a couple heads at a time. So this is just the best way to get more cooldown without any modifier. This one makes it cold, which means you'll have 3 cold skills on your bar, so you can't do that. So you're stuck with no modifier on the Hydra. If you did want to run the 3-fold set for a little bit more survivability, it modifies your skill tree, taking away excess points from Frost Nova and Ice Blades, and putting 1 point each into the 4 mastery skills since you proc them automatically. You can see the upgrades here. My enchants, I will typically use the, of course, Ice Shards, and then for the secondary, either one of the conjuration skills, or if you're running the 3-fold, you'll pick Ball Lightning. And then regardless of which build you're doing, if you want to push, you do need to switch to Deep Freeze and remove Ice Blades from your bar so that you can remove Unstoppable from enemies, since most of your damage comes from things being frozen. For Paragon, we are using Destruction Glyph on the base board, Winter Glyph on the Frigid Fate board, Tactician Glyph on the Icefall board, Control on the Enchantment Master board, Cryopathy on the Elemental Summoner board. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you have any input, throw me a comment. All I do is make off-meta builds, prioritizing speed, fun, and playability. If you like that, throw me a sub. Thanks guys.